Hello, people. Welcome to another edition of the TOD show. I am Odwanla Abayomi, and I have on set with me today one of the biggest consulting firms in Nigeria. I have on set with me the CEO of TAN Consult, Mr. Tony Abraham. Hello, Mr. Tony. It's nice to have you on the show.
Yeah, no problem being here.
Thanks for honoring the invitation to be on the show.
Thank you so much.
Can we meet you, sir?
Yeah, my name is Tony Abraham, the CEO of TAN Consult. TAN Consult is a human capital and capacity development organization. Our major focus is into educational programs. We're also into wealth creation. We train people on how to make money on the internet, which is basically digital marketing. We are also into all manners of when it comes to management training. Okay, so basically that is what we are into as an organization.
I love that name, TAN, T-A-N. So what does it stand for?
Yeah, the T is Tony. It's just a combination of my name, Tony Abraham, then the consult comes along, then the N is network. So which indicates that we have a network of different brands that we do as a business
Okay,
entity.
so that's like the umbrella for all of this.
Yes.
Wow, it's very nice. TAN Consult, simple and short.
Thank
okay,
you.
So why did you choose this career path, Mr.
Well,
Tony?
now I saw something while I was in school. I discovered that when I meet employees, the major complaint has always been that I'm not satisfied, the pay is not much, and all that and all that. So while I was always working with some of those people, now discovered that I could face some of these things. Then I came up with a plan which says that I help individuals and organizations to gain cognitive alliance in order to enhance their performance for maximum productivity and profitability. So I came up with the brand name TAN Consult, so that employees in organizations, perhaps that have this low self-esteem, or probably because of the kind of job they do, then let me say I can fix that. Then we train them on how we can boost their performance, so that at least that also will help them to be productive and then make profit from whatever they are doing. So we harness potentials in organizations, so that even if you are doing your 9 to 5, there are other things that also is your passion or your vision that you also want to do. You can as well do it alongside with it. So if at the end of the day, they can be able to match that with whatever you are doing. So that is why we come up with that name, TAN Consult.
Okay, so what's the vision of TAN Consult?
Our vision is to help small-scale entrepreneurs, to increase their sensitivity in terms of how to do business. Most of the problem we have in Africa is this: by the time you start a business, particularly as a small-scale entrepreneur, the first thing is that in the next 2 months or 3 months, you want to start making millions of naira. So if the money is not coming in, then the passion is decreased. Then at the end of the day, you just discover that then they pack up the business. Then you now find another thing to do again.
So most SMEs are not very patient when they start.
The patient is not there. So that is where we want to bridge the gap in order to see how we can help them. Because most times it is not even about the capital. It is about you having the passion to be able to drive the business you want to do. So if the passion is there and the capital is also there, that will also make you to go on a long run to run the business. But if what you are looking for on how to start the business is to quickly make the money, and the passion is not there, soon enough the person will be out of the business.
So over the years, you've been able to work with a lot of SMEs.
Yes.
What do you have to say about the SME industry in Nigeria, like how they run their business and all of that? You've been working with them for years. What do you have to say about the SME?
The SME business is a very, very big time business in Africa, particularly in Nigeria. But the unfortunate thing is that the enabling environment for SMEs to operate is not there, based on this Nigerian factor and so many other factors, like particularly electricity. So for SMEs, the only thing the government would probably help the SMEs to do is to create that enabling environment for SMEs to thrive, because the major population of people running businesses in Nigeria are the SMEs. They are the one bringing in the money. They're on the streets, they are in the markets, they're everywhere. So if we have the enabling environment to operate, I was at the commerce industry for commerce and industry also some months ago, and then I met with one of the officials there. I told them that what we need, because we have a friend, Opemi Adeyanju, who is also into agricultural activities now. Then we're able to discuss something on how we can help SMEs. That okay, if we can have some seed capital that will help them to boost the business they are doing, because some of them are still using they are not using mechanized tools. They are still using the old tools.
Okay, so for SMEs in agriculture.
In agricultural sector. So if we can get some of this facility, then it will also help them to boost their business. Then at the same time, we have some persons that are also into digital marketing. Okay, very, very sound individuals. So what they actually need to do is the setup on how to be able to run the business, and then the capacity development training for most of the youth in Nigeria to also coming into SME business. Because what youth are actually doing now is entertainment.
Yes,
okay,
that's true.
Okay, that is probably the gold mine or the refinery that is bringing the money. But there are a lot of gold present in data marketing. We have a lot of them there, but it's not as vast as when we have them in the entertainment industry. So when we now do a lot of training now, by next year, January to like March, and I'll be doing a tour around secondary school. We are going to be doing a training on digital marketing, organizational growth, and so many likes of that when we enter January 2020.
Wow. So you're going to do a tour?
We are doing a tour around the 100 schools,
secondary schools.
It's free.
Wow, it's just free. To teach them and educate them about
data marketing and some other SMEs businesses.
So data marketing, like you said, what does it really entail?
Data marketing, it's a combination of the media and social media. So the one we are specifically doing is that because now we have TikTok, we have LinkedIn, we have so many of them. Now, when you watch the videos on TikTok, you see a lot of junks that some of these youths are putting out there. Okay, so we want to really actually educate them on how to convert or harness that platform to make money and do something profitable, rather than just going
and then
the other way. No. So we want to see how we can be able to curb that area and put in some e-learning platform there, that even if you're on that platform, you'll be able to learn one or two things. So it will not just be about you entertaining and some of these things that we are seeing all around flying here and there.
Okay, Mr. Tony, what do you have to say to the Nigerian youth involvement in social media currently? The use of Instagram, TikTok, like you mentioned, Facebook, and all of that. What do you have to say about it?
Now, the interesting part is that social media has come to stay.
True.
There's no going back, and there's nothing we can do about it. Either we like it or not, the youth will always find their way there.
True.
Okay, so the only thing we can as well do is to find a way to see how we can harness those potentials. Because, for example, now, I think around September, I was at a particular school. We're having a program there, because I do a program too that is called Ignite. Okay. So when I was having that program, one of the youth came to ask me a question. He said that he loves to create, he loves graphics design. Okay. So now what we did around that time was that we only asked him to be converted to our school. That's to Abraham Human Capacity Development Academy. Okay. Tada. So we trained the guy. Now he's doing massively when it comes to social media. So he created a page on Facebook, created a page on Instagram. So everything he's only doing on those social media is pushing out his brand. Okay, he designed this paper bag, he does this business card and the likes.
Graphics, designing generally.
So that again is also helping to bring out his creativity. So he's using that to make money rather than just doing other things that does not produce results. So that is exactly what we want to do around the youth, so that if there's any kind of passion or potential that you have within you, okay, even if it is about singing, okay, you want to go into football, there are things we can do that all we need to do as creative director is to sit down and see how we can fine-tune it, okay, and help them to become more productive. That is exactly what we do around social media for the youth in Nigeria.
Okay, so that's your academy is actually targeting the usage of social media by youth.
Yes.
Oh, okay, yes. That's very nice. We need to go on a quick break, Mr. Tony, and then we'll come back to discuss further on the topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so we need to go on a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back to discuss further with Mr. Tony. Thanks for staying tuned. break, and I still have on set with me Mr. Tony Abraham, the CEO of Tan Consult. Mr. Tony, so let's say something different from the Tan Consult, the
Okay.
trainings, and all of that. What do you do during your leisure time? I mean, who is Tony Abraham outside workspace?
Well, as a person, what I actually do major is reading. Okay, I do a lot of research based on the kind of the thing I do. Okay, I hardly have time for fun as such.
No, that's not possible.
Because I'm also into ministry.
Oh,
Okay, so most of my time is consumed in ministry, personal development, counseling, training, except in a season like this, December, where I probably take my family out. That is
so
if
December
I'm not
period,
busy.
what do you do?
That is we have to probably go to somewhere like eatery,
Okay.
or something like the beach if I have the time for that as well, because my time is very very tight when it comes to things.
So even during your leisure time, you prefer
So,
to research and
research. So I do a lot of writing now that I have books to publish next year. That is what's already engrossed my brain right now. So the leisure time for me is probably when I'm also at home with my daughter. Then we also have some Ludo that we play, or some games.
Okay, board games with them. Okay, you have a daughter.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So that's what we do.
Okay. So Mr. Tony, back to the world of consulting and training.
Yes.
What are the challenges that you have faced so far?
Wow. You see, dealing with youth, because that is my industry. Dealing with youth, it's really very very challenging, because the youth now, what they do now is social media. Okay, they are not that very very particularly engrossed or much more into personal.
Okay, so sir, most of the youths currently are not really interested in personal development, like you mentioned.
Yes. Okay, now the solution now we are bringing on board is this. We now raised up an idea to have an event called African Student Forum. Okay, particularly for students in upper secondary school. Okay, from SS1 to SS3. Because at that point, the realization of going to the world is now there. So that is the right time for them to now begin to have that self-awareness that this is my future, and I need to now take it hook, line, and sinker. So what we now do is that for personal development, we created African Student Forum into 3 angles: for personal development, for skill acquisition, then for capacity building. Okay, such that by the time you come into that event, we'll be able to segment those youths or the students into wherever section they want to fall into. Then at that point, we'll be able to bring them from into that angle we are looking into. Now, the youth in Nigeria, actually, what we actually need is the fact that there is need for more orientation. Okay, there's need for more orientation, because a lot of distractions are out there right now. Okay, so what we have to do as youth, it is not a one-man business show. Okay, a lot of youths that are also into personal development are now coming up on board now to also see how they can also train other youth. So it's very good that now that we have that awareness coming up. Okay, now we are setting up book library in some schools now, a mobile one.
That's nice.
Okay, by the time they are resuming in January 2023, so that will also help to assign the area of personal development. So
okay, so you have a particular project coming up March 2023.
Yes.
Is where is
that's an event, African Student Forum, that's coming up in March at Covenant University.
Covenant University.
Covenant is a collaboration with Covenant University.
Okay.
So that event is we have 3 segments, like I mentioned earlier. That's we have personal development, we have skill acquisition, then we have capacity building. Now, for personal development, what we want to do around personal development is to see how we can have so many youths that have books, perhaps that they have written, okay, or we have youth that have one skill or the other that they want to use, and then we now begin to, put them together. We have our analysts, we have our strategists that will be on board on that day to be able to treat some of these things.
Oh wow, that's nice, and it's free.
It's free.
Oh,
it's
okay.
free. So that will be third edition coming up this year.
Oh, you've done two previous
editions. Yes, the first edition was in 2020. That was online. The COVID period. It was online, it was virtual. Then the second edition, I think Mr. Kenny was around for the first edition, online. Okay. Then the third edition, that is coming up.
The one
March.
At Covenant University.
Yes.
Okay, so the third edition is the one that is happening March 2023 in Covenant University.
Yes.
Okay, so sir, throughout your journey as a coach and a mentor, what do you have to say about this impression that people have that Nigerian youth are lazy? What do you think?
As for me, I know that the Nigerian youth are not the lazy type.
Oh, really?
Okay, yes.
It's
because
good to know that.
I have mentored a lot of them. We have coached a lot of them. We have them in our academy. Our academy is both virtual and offline. Okay. So what I only see about the Nigeria factor is among the youth is what we call youthful exuberance. Okay, and this I want to belong thing. Okay, because A is doing it, so B wants to join. Because B is doing it, then the C want to join. Now, when we have a platform in place, for example, now I always have this program I came up with some months ago. I called it Catch Them Young, citywide. It's also a WhatsApp program for ages 8 to 18. Okay. Now that program is for the teenagers because at that section also, we also need to see how we can also help them to bring out the potential and also help them to harness it, because that is also very, very important. So for the youth, they have this innate ability in them. The potential is there. Okay, but they only need people to help them to harness it. They need people to help them to mentor them rather, to coach them in order to be able to bring out that potential. Because if that is not done, one way or the other, they will find a way of distracting and doing some other thing that is not even irrelevant or incongruent with what they are doing. Okay, that will also discourage them or take them away from their focus before they get to join also form of social vices, which is not supposed to be. So the only challenge the youth are having now is that, particularly the youth of this 21st century, which we call the Gen Z generation.
Gen Z.
So we need the coach that have been there. Okay, because the youth now cannot mentor the youth. That's the challenge. The youth now cannot mentor the youth. You cannot give what you don't have.
That's true.
Okay, so we can only have people that have been there. Okay, people of the 80s, the 82 people that can come up and say, okay, I've been there. I was once doing this. This is what I've passed through. This is what I see as a solution. And I know if you can do this, it will help you a lot. Not someone that is in this generation that will not want to mentor another the person in the same generation. They won't listen to each other. There'll be confusion.
Like, what do you have to tell me?
What do you have to tell me? So they listen to people that they know that this one they have passed through these stages. So this one they can as well, okay, you have something to offer. Let's see it. So if you have something to offer and they can see it, they'll buy into it. We had a program some months ago. I was there with one of my friends. We went to talk to those youth in their school. And someone came up and said, okay, now you have told us that we can write books, we can do this, we can do that. Now, how do we go about it? Now, this guy was very, very much addicted to betting. Okay? Very, very much addicted to betting. But at the end of the day, he could see that, okay, he has something within him that he can do. So, by the time he called us, he sent us the manuscript to our WhatsApp that he has written some novel. I said, wow. So that one, again, shows that we have something that is impacting the youth. And that is exactly what we need right now. We need a lot of people to come up to start training the youth, because a lot of things are going on that behind the scene, so to speak, that the youth are indulging themselves involving.
Okay, Mr. Tony.
Yes.
Still on the matter of Nigerian youth, do you feel that the current people now, the Gen Z, do you feel they can actually handle the leadership role when they get to the future?
Definitely, definitely.
Do
You
you
see,
have confidence in the
I
Gen
have
Z?
I have the 100% confidence in Gen Z, because I would just say in quote that I'm also a Gen Z, even though I'm not in
But
the
you are
Gen
the first
Z.
generation of Gen Z.
Okay, you know, this Jackpot thing, this their language now, Sharkpa and all of those things now that is
Yeah.
common. You have to also know how to speak their
trends,
language, the
the
trend.
slangs.
Yes, you have to know how to speak their language in order to arrest them. You know, they say you have to be like the monkey if you want to eat the banana.
Yeah.
So now the Gen Z have the potential. I wrote a book, The Leadership Power in a Child. Okay.
That's your book, right?
Yes, I wrote a book, The Leadership Power in a Child. Now, in that book, I mentioned something about the Gen Z there, that we should not underestimate the fact that because they are Gen Z, that they don't have the power to do something. Now, when you put a child right here, you will discover the power it can do to make this play well arranged, and then you discover that there are other things that this guy can do that also benefit the society. Okay, so the only thing they need to do, or we need to do for them, like I've said, is to train them. Okay, is to train them. For example, in the Gen Z generation, they don't know how to sweep perhaps. Some of them, if you give them room to sweep, you just discover, we have them at home, we have them everywhere. Unlike us that were while growing up, we ate eba, sorry to say our hair. Okay. Now those
they
ones
take noodles now.
they take noodles now. We call them the Indomie generation. Okay. Now, what we actually need to do basically is to train them. The leadership potential is there. Leadership is not something that we brought from heaven.
True.
Okay, it's right there within us. So all we need to do is to discover it and bring it out.
So you are very optimistic.
I'm very
that
optimistic
in
about
the
it.
nearest future that these people can actually
They
handle.
have it. They have it there already. They have it there already. Now, I thank God that some schools now are doing what we call politics or ballot election in their schools now. Okay, that also
Secondary schools
Yes,
or
secondary
tertiary?
schools. Secondary schools.
Okay.
Secondary school. They did that at my daughter's school. Okay, that election would also help, because I told the proprietor at that time that if you really want the potential in some of the students to come up or to be our next, start doing something that you see in politics, you see in government. Let them start practicing it. Why? Even when they are in secondary school.
So real life scenarios
So
are happening.
practically, they'll be able to see it and see how they can undo it when eventually they get there. So the factor of corruption, of this, of that, we are all lamenting all about today, started from somewhere. So that is also written in that book. So if we can as well curb that area by letting them to see, because what the generation of today want to see is, you say it, then do it, then I'll follow.
They want to see the
They
execution.
want to see it. So if by demonstration, by really doing some practical demonstration to them and they can see it, then they will actually know what to do.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tony. It's nice having you on the
Thank you
show.
so
Wrapping up the show, what advice do you have to give to the Nigerian youth?
Wow. One thing foremost is the God factor.
God first.
Is the God factor. We can't take that away. Okay. There is no future without the God factor. No matter the height we want to climb, we still need the spirituality angle of it. Okay. That is the only area where the youth are lagging behind today. Okay. Unlike us that your mother have to wake you up at 5 a.m. for morning devotion. While you are still standing, you are dozing. But now, oh my God.
5 a.m. They are still sleeping.
At 7, you have to force them to get up to go to school. Okay, so the God factor have to be there. Then secondly, personal development is very, very important. Now we are in the age of technology. Social media has taken away so many things. I won't forget the days of burning the midnight candle. I won't forget the days of eating Nescafe in order to read. I won't forget the days where I will have to open my eyes down and pour water on my head in order to put my feet into water. But now is that still happening today? Okay, so now we have machineries everywhere to assist students doing examinations. Parents are doing all that to assist their children. Schools are also helping out. So many things are just so at stake in this generation, in this world that except we have to go back to the drawing table and now begin to help the student in the area of personal development. Okay, and personal development is a very wide scope that we need so many things to be involved. And that's why we set up Town Consults to see how far in our own little way we can bridge that gap. And that's why we are coming up with that tour January to March called the School Discovery Tour.
Wow.
So that we can as well go to schools, inform them, build them, develop their capacity, and see how far we can go about that.
Wow, thank you so much,
You're
Mr.
welcome so
Tony.
much.
It's nice having you on the
You're
show.
welcome.
Thank
you.
you. It's a wrap today on the TOD show, and I had an interesting interview with Mr. Tony, the CEO of Town Consults. And my take home today is that Nigerian youth should put God first. After that, they should work on personal development. I mean, we're in the world whereby you can develop yourself through social media, through different websites and platforms. So as a Nigerian youth, you should also know that personal development is not something that you can joke with. Thank you so much for watching the TOD show. I remain your host, Odunola Abayomi.